Dan Miller joins us. How you doing, bud?
Hey, Dan.
What's up, boys? How you doing?
Got it. Sorry.
What's up, boys?
You, baby. I mean, I don't know if I can wait till Sunday night. How are you feeling about it?
Oh man, it's days are crawling. I'll tell you that. It's. I think I woke up this morning like, man, it's just Wednesday. So it definitely is. Look, we've all looked forward to this. We've all. I've dreamed about it. I'll tell you, I've driven down the road just thinking about calling a playoff game at Ford Field and what it would be like with these fans packing that place and going nuts and. Just the opportunity to be able to do that and to see these fans get the payoff that they've deserved for a long time, to have that kind of show at Ford Field downtown. It's, yeah, man. I mean, it's. I'm just looking forward to it, and I can't wait. And yes, it feels like time is moving pretty slowly at this point.
Dan, I wrote Thursday today on the rundown. Pete had to tell me, Maz, it's Wednesday. So I cannot
It's just
wait.
wishful thinking right there.
I can't wait, man, because it was been bowling night as well. That would have made it even better.
Hey, Dan, what was your first reaction to watching the Rams in the San Francisco 49er game?
That Broadway show?
Yeah. I hate the fact that they're playing the Rams for a number of different reasons, but what do you make of that?
Yeah, you know what? I was kind of torn because I wasn't looking forward to the storylines. I wasn't looking forward to this week being all about, Stafford, Goff, and all that stuff and reliving all that and reading the stories about revenge this, revenge that, and all that stuff. I kind of didn't want to deal with that. Now that we're in it, it's fine, whatever. But, I'll be honest with you, you kind of got to be careful what you're wishing for because Green Bay's really playing well right now. And not that the Rams aren't. They are. They've won 7 out of 8. But what you come down to is this, Ryan, there's nothing easy right now. There's not one team that you'd look at in these playoffs and say, hey, I'd really like to be playing them. So it is just everybody got here for a reason. Everybody is capable of winning. And I kind of looked at it and, it was hard to wrap your arms around two teams that are playing with mostly backups, and it was what it was. But, more so I was kind of locked into that Dallas-Washington game, although you got locked out pretty quick when you realized that Washington just didn't have much in the way of gas left at that point. But, look, this is it. We're here. We wanted to be here. We're not going to quibble over who we're playing, so let's get this thing going.
As far as a matchup goes, is it that Rams passing offense against the Lions pass defense, is that the matchup that everybody's going to point to here?
100%. That's what I'm looking at. Look, I think our offense can move against their defense. I think I would feel pretty good about our offense against anybody's defense. I have that much confidence in those guys with that offensive line up front. Where I have pause about this game and where my eye goes directly is you look at what's happened over the last 3 weeks, and it's really been more than that, but just take the last 3 weeks. Jefferson has lit us up. CeeDee Lamb lit us up. We've been able to endure that against the Vikings. Didn't endure it against Dallas, although there's some ancillary stuff involved. But no, I think if you look at what they can do with Nakua and Kupp and Stafford, we know how good he is throwing the football. It's their strength against our weakness right now, which is stopping the chunk passing plays. They're just giving up too many of those, and you're going to have to figure out some way to slow that thing down on Sunday, or this is going to be an absolute shootout, and it's going to be every possession is going to, be one that you have to score on. It could turn into that kind of game if the Lions can't slow that Rams offense down. Let me say this. It's also about that Rams running game because Williams has been really good, and he's given them balance. The Lions need to try to take that balance away. They've done a great job of that this year. They need to do it again this week.
Dan, what about, you talk about that pass defense, and I know each game is different. Each matchup is unique to its own individual game, but I'll tell you, Nick Mullins threw for 400 yards last week. That's something tough to see.
Boy, he's thrown for 802 games against the Lions.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, in the first game, he threw a bunch of interceptions. Then the second game, they got some at the end. You have to hope that you can get it away from Stafford a little bit. But no, Ryan, I mean, that's the point is the Lions are having a tough time stopping people right now. And, you had CeeDee Lamb go for over 200, although 92 was in one play. It's still a pretty good game, even if you take the 92 away. So I think that's to me what I'm going to be keeping an eye on early in this game. Now, we know Stafford's not mobile. He's economical with his movement, and he can get away from a pass rush. But the Lions have fared better against quarterbacks that don't run around back there than they have against guys that can. So that might be something that plays into their favor. But somebody besides Aiden has to step up in that front. If it's Alim, if it's Onwuzurike, if it's Pascal, if it's Romeo, whoever it is, somebody else has got to apply pressure. We know what we're going to get from Aiden. We know what he's going to do. They need other guys to step up and be a factor in this game in trying to make Stafford uncomfortable back there.
Dan, do you see guys, we know Laporta is going to be iffy. We'll know more on Friday. We heard Dan Campbell earlier today from Allen Park. Do you think they suit him up anyway? Do you think Brock Wright is active? They didn't go after Zach Ertz or anyone like that. You know they weren't going to do that. How about James Houston? Do you see all these guys playing? Who sits out? Jamison Williams, is the bubble wrap off him?
Maz wanted Ertz, by the way, Dan.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Maz is like, I'm telling you, 4 years, $28 million, it'll get it done. But no, I think, look, I wasn't at practice today. I want to see what comes out after practice. It sounded like, based on what I heard, that Brock Wright is going, that J-Mo is practicing, so it seems like J-Mo is going to be all right. Campbell indicated that earlier in the week. So, yeah, we'll have to see what's going on with Houston. I know Campbell said basically he's gotten better week to week. Didn't feel that optimistic just reading the tea leaves about where he was at and if they felt like he was ready. We'll have to wait and see on that a couple days. And then Laporta, look, they said he went through walkthrough today. We'll see what kind of grade they put on him after practice. Is he limited? Is he out? Does he take part in anything out there? That'll be the question. And then probably more so if he does get any action today, how does it react tomorrow? How does he react Friday? And this will probably be something that goes into Friday. If they get a definitive answer there, great. If not, then it may go into Saturday or Sunday before they know. But I know it's probably just 24-hour treatment, trying to get that thing right, doing everything they can, but also watching how he reacts to any sort of movement, action, and if he can handle that.
Okay, well, Khalif Raymond out. Pretty much he's not going to be playing in this game. Do you think it's Craig Reynolds, or do you think they unwrap a surprise and put Jamison Williams back there?
Well, I think, Reynolds has been handling the kickoffs. I think the question is the punts. And I asked Campbell on Monday if that would be DPJ, and he said they were still talking about it, but that's certainly a candidate. I get the sense that it might be him. Amon-Ra's a guy that we've seen back there before in practice and certainly is sure-handed when it comes to fielding punts. But look, Donovan Peoples-Jones, pretty good punt returner now.
Yeah.
And he can make some things happen back there, and he's done that in this league before. So the biggest thing I think that you want if you're Campbell or Dave Phipp and you're back there is you need ball security, man.
Yeah.
You need somebody that you can trust. Now, you're indoors. That's a plus. You're not outdoors with the wind blowing. But you have got to have ball security, that somebody's going to secure that punt, and you're not going to lose a possession because somebody muffs one back there. So we'll see what happens. My hunch is DPJ, but let's wait and see on that one. And I would say Amon-Ra might be a dark horse, and maybe there's somebody else that they're thinking. But those are the guys that come to mind for me.
So J-Mo's out on those.
I don't know. I just haven't seen
particulars.
J-Mo really work punts that often. So I maybe if they got a kickoff return at some point, they might want to do that. But I just don't know that I don't know that that's something that I've seen even in practice a lot of with J-Mo working back there. I know what Donovan Peoples-Jones' history is and what he's done, and the fact that he's got a track record of doing it in this league. I've seen Amon-Ra catch punts. He's rock solid back there. So those, like I said, are the first two guys that come to mind. And look, at some point, we've talked about seeing, Jamison back on a kickoff or something like that, just to see if you can spring something. But haven't seen it yet. But look, you never know.
Exactly.
Hey, Dan, bigger game for Jared Goff or bigger game for Matthew Stafford?
I think Goff. I think Stafford's got a ring. I think that takes a lot of the pressure off when you've got that. And I think, look, Goff, it didn't end well in Los Angeles, okay? They decided that Goff wasn't the guy to get it done. Anybody would feel that. And I'm sure Jared Goff felt that. Now, to Jared's credit, he came in here and endured a lot. That first year he was here was brutal, man. He didn't have much around him. The team wasn't winning. The team he left was doing nothing but winning. The guy that replaced him was probably the MVP through the first half of the season and went on to win a Super Bowl. And Jared has been through a lot. And I think he's come out the other side. I go back to our training camp show, and we were sitting on the field, and Birchie asked him what he had learned about himself over the 3 years. And Jared, and I'm paraphrasing here, said, I think he said I could do an hour on that. He said, but two things that come to mind. He said, sometimes the thing you think is the worst in the world is the best thing in the world, and I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was.
I remember that.
Those things always kind of resonate with me as really telling about what he's been through and where he is now that he's been through it and come out the other side. So look, in my mind, it's a bigger game for Goff. It is a team that has waited decades to have this opportunity at home. It's a team that hasn't won a playoff game since 1991. All due respect to Matthew, and this is a compliment more than anything else, he's got a ring. Once you get that, you want more, but it does take a lot of the pressure off of your career being defined by not having one. I mean, so yes, I think if you look at the world of who still needs something more and which franchise needs something more right now, this is a bigger game for the Lions and a bigger game for Jared Goff. Now, everybody in LA will tell you they want to win this just as much as the Lions, but they've won. They've been to the highest mountaintop. They've done it. So, look, the Lions are trying to get back to relevance and trying to get back to being a team that people look at and say they're a perennial contender. The Rams have been there, and the Rams have done that. So I think for those reasons, I would say the Lions. But look, I say that knowing that everybody connected with the Rams was there. Oh, this is huge for us. It's massive. And it is. It's the playoffs, man. This is where everybody wants to be, and they want to win another Super Bowl.
Dan, I said yesterday that the 2024 opponents came out, and the Rams come to Ford Field next year. If you want to cheer for Matthew Stafford, do it pregame next year. I thought that everybody
videos.
If you're going to this playoff game, you need to boo him like crazy. How should the fans react Sunday night to Matthew Stafford?
Man, I've been asked that. I've never had a fuller schedule of people wanting me to do radio interviews in this week, and I think in every one, they have asked me, what's the fan reaction going to be? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't. And here's what I'll tell you. If they boo him, it's not going to be because they dislike Matthew Stafford.
Right.
I think everybody in Detroit respects Matthew Stafford and appreciates what Matthew Stafford did here and what he went through here. Because while you can put some of this on him, a lot of it was on people failing around him as well. I'm not saying he doesn't shoulder some of the blame, because as a player with the football in his hands, he does. But they didn't build a good team around him. They never gave him a running game. More often than not, the defense was lacking, and he had to try to keep up. So I think people appreciate what he did here. Look, I wrote this on Twitter, and it's gotten a lot of play. And it's not an anti-Matthew thing. It is about the Lions and Jared Goff. This is not about Matthew Stafford coming back. Jared Goff's got a story. And his story is probably more of a want to get back and show people than Stafford's ever was. Because Stafford asked to get out of here. And Stafford was traded to a good team. Goff was ushered out and traded to a lousy team. And has fought like hell to bring that team back. So, look. Nothing I've said this week has been anti-Matthew. It's been pro-Lions and pro-Jared Goff. But I don't know what the reception will be, Ryan, and I'm not going to tell anybody how to receive him. But whatever it is, it's going to be based on the fact that he plays for the Rams now. Yeah. Maybe there'll be some cheers because of what he did here. But anything negative, and I think it'll be pretty negative after he runs on the field the first time. Maybe he gets cheered. I don't even know. I don't even know how to process that. But here's the bottom line. He plays for the Rams. Jared Goff plays for the Lions.
Amen. How about the coordinators, Dan? There's going to be a lot of jobs opening. One open today. Seattle lets Pete Carroll walk out the door. Tennessee lets Mike Vrabel walk out the door. Everybody wants to interview Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Do you think we lose both coordinators at the end of the year?
I think there's a good shot. I really do, because I think they'll both present extremely well in meetings and look like head coaches when they sit down with owners and general managers and things like that. And the more openings, obviously, the better chance. I think some of these openings are better than others. I don't know that necessarily you take one if you don't feel like it's the right spot, like Carolina. I think a lot of people are wary of that place because of the owner. But I just think they're both ready. And Aaron Glenn, you can say, well, the defense has been kind of spotty, and they have. But I also think that the talent that he's been given to work with at times has been tough. And, even this year, that second cornerback position, which is hurting us right now, was supposed to be Emmanuel Mosley. They were supposed to have C.J. Gardner-Johnson for a full season. This isn't the defense that they necessarily thought that they would have. So, look, I've been around those guys. I think if you just kind of play in your mind when they sit down and try to conduct themselves as head coaches, and people across the table are trying to envision them being their lead guy, I think it's an easy step for the other people to make, to say, yeah, I could see Aaron Glenn leading this franchise and being the face of it, and yeah, I can see Ben Johnson doing it as well. I think they've both put in their time. I think they're both great candidates, and I think there's an excellent chance that both of them could be gone.
All right, Dan, here we go. Around the league. Browns at the Houston Texans.
He's got a show at 5 o'clock.
Who do you like? Browns, Texans.
I'll take the Browns with that. I'll take the Browns with that defense. I just think, I'll say Browns with that defense. And you know what? That's going to be another interesting one.
It is a good one.
Schwartz get a look this year.
Oh yeah.
He's done with that Cleveland defense. We were talking about that in the office the other night. Does Jim Schwartz get another look this year?
Titans. Right? I could see the Titans back with him. Didn't he come from there?
Great history there. Yeah. He was a defensive coordinator there. He's had 2 stops there.
Dolphins at the Chiefs in 0 degrees.
Wow, Chiefs. So I'm not betting against Mahomes in that kind of weather, and it's kind of a prove-it game for the Dolphins. They let it get away by not winning that game against Buffalo to close the season, but Chiefs in that weather with Mahomes.
Steelers at Orchard Park against the Bills.
Maz promises to get you on the air by 10 p.m. tonight.
Packers at the Packers at the Cowboys.
My heart says Packers, because I'd love for the Lions to take the field on Sunday night, knowing if they win, they got a home playoff game. But Dallas is tough to beat at home. I would take Dallas, but I'm telling you, if Jordan Love handles the lights and handles the stage, watch that game.
Yes.
The Packers are playing really well right now.
Cancel that 11 p.m.
I'll be on my way to Ford Field at that point. And Eagles at the Buccaneers Monday Night Football.
I just think Philadelphia will recover. You know what? Here's the thing, though. There's so many times, guys, in sports that we keep expecting teams to bounce back and recover, and it doesn't happen. And then it's over, and we go, wow, they really were real in there. And that's kind of, I think, the question Philadelphia has to answer. It's tough to go on the road, but they're the better team. Question is, can they play like it?
Enjoy the game this week, Dan.
Wait, I'm not done.
No, you are done. Enjoy the game this week.
Thanks,
Tell
Dan.
Greg Canner.
He's got Michigan's schedule for next year. We're going to run through that.
How about those Wolverines,
2024.
Wow.
Thanks, Dan.
Harbaugh State are going.
The guy next to you.
We'll see you. Enjoy the game.
You didn't let me get my Harbaugh staying or going question.
No, we can talk to him next week about Harbaugh staying or going.